Hello, hello. We're live in episode 4 of Finding Your Purpose. And my special guest today is my good friend Nicola Barragry. Hi, Nicola.
Hello, good evening.
Yes. Just before we get going, I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I'm Stephen Legger. I'm the Diabetes Destroyer. And this show is called Finding Your Purpose. So, Nicola, as we start, I always like to start off by saying, how did you find your purpose? Was there a moment when you were perhaps doing something different, where you were following a career, and then suddenly something happened, or there was a big realization moment or a big change that made you move to doing what you're doing now? So what was your big insight moment?
Okay, so to start with, my mum passed away 27 years ago, very unexpectedly at 64 years old. And at the time, my children were really young. My daughter was 9 months old. And so I just got on with life and I put the children through school. And then I actually started an English degree when I was in my 40s. So I qualified late in life. And I thought that was my path. And I worked in a secondary high school teaching English to special needs and children with disabilities. And I was going along that path. But the path of a teacher is quite hard and quite stressful. It allowed me to have time off with the children in theory, but I did lots of work, as all teachers do, in the evenings and weekends. And it was when my youngest child was 16 and was going into sixth form. And that was when I just suddenly stopped and thought, oh, my 3 children now have grown up. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to be on this hamster wheel of, constantly working and marking and preparing. But who am I and what do I do? So my question to myself is, because my mum passed away at 64, if you only had 10 years left in your life, would you still do what you're doing now? And
Wow.
that really prompted me to think. And that was my changing moment, really, when I thought, no, I don't think I would be doing this. What would I be doing?
If you were to go back and ask yourself that question from where you are now, if you were to continue doing what you were doing for 10 years, would that be beatific? Would that be happiness for you?
So if I could change the life that I had, is that what you're asking? Or
no, if you were to take that same question and ask it of yourself now, given the life you have now and the what you choose to do during the day, what would your answer be? Would it be that, yeah, I could see myself doing this for 20, 30 years, I love it? Or would it be, well, I don't know, we'll just wait and see?
what I do now is my passion and purpose. It's making a difference. And my husband is now coming up to retirement age. And I looked at him and went, I'm not retiring. I'm literally starting on my new career that I'm so excited about. And I have so many visions for what I'm going to do. And he looks at me like, but you're supposed to be thinking about retirement now. But I think times have changed now from when in my parents' day, we're not retiring when we're approaching 60 anymore.
I had the same conversation with a friend of mine over Easter weekend. And I was saying to him, why would I choose to retire from something I love, stop doing something I love, to do something that I love less? I can see myself. I made a very clear decision when I started this type 2 diabetes reversal path that my son, is at the opposite age spectrum, I guess, really. So he's only 9 now. I want to see him thrive. And not only that, but I want to see him have children and them to thrive as well. And, I did the maths, Nicola, and I worked out that really, as on a conservative basis, I have to look at living to 118 to see all that come to fruition.
Yeah.
And immediately, whoa, that diabetes stuck right in the middle of my eyes. And it was saying to me, how can you do that and still maintain this type 2 diabetes, which I was very good at, I must say. I've been doing it for 20 years. But, you know, it's more important for me to see that legacy and to be around, and you know, even the anticipated joy of that in this moment right now. And he's only 9, and goodness, you know, he might not have children probably for another 15 years, but the joy of that moment, I can still feel that, and it's worth hanging around for, to see those events. So that's why I decided diabetes had to go. So yeah, I'm really with you on that one. The word retirement is, I think it's about choice nowadays, isn't it, Nicola?
Absolutely.
It's about choosing your way forward. And I guess to some extent, to bring us back to the subject, at every stage of our life, and certainly I faced it when I faced it over the 20 years of having diabetes. Every moment of our life is a choice.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to your clients, and your clients are, I guess, are coming to you with the sense that, you know, with the sense that they've got an itch and they don't quite know what it is.
Yeah.
Something's not quite right. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
And they need some kind of help to understand what that is. Is that the kind of the mindset of a client when they come to see you?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just say, well done to you for recognizing it while your son is still young. For me, there's a 6-year age gap between my middle child and my last child. So for a very long time, I just bowled along because it was easy to do that. Now, if you'd had asked me 30 years ago, before they were born, what was your plans for your life? My plans were to get married, have a house, to have 3 children, and to have a job that I really loved doing. And I did all that. I was super successful. I did exactly what I'd set out to do. And in order to do those things, I needed to make those choices at that time. And I wanted to be there for my children. So I took the jobs that allowed me to be there in those formative times. But it's when, for me, my son was 16, but it's when you suddenly come to that realization, well, yeah, I got everything I wanted to do. So it's not necessarily that you dislike what you've done, but you just suddenly find yourself going down that path because that's the path that you started walking down. And what I want to say is, you don't have to stay on that path and see it through to its end. You can take the cut through and get to that path over there and just meander down there a little bit. And if you don't like that, go and look at the stream down the other road. There's plenty of roads that you can go down, but we do get stuck in that groove that we're on. And we also get a title. So you're an accountant, you're a teacher, you're a manager. And we introduce ourselves in those titles as well. I'm a person.
Yeah.
I'm a human being with needs. I'm not defined by my job role. And just because I'm doing this now may not be in the future what I do, but being open to the possibilities that you don't have to stay on that path, and there might be other ways.
You know, a particular memory sticks in my mind. I was watching some daytime TV. I can't, must have been years ago. I can't imagine our time in the last 15 years. But anyway, some time ago, I was watching some daytime TV, and it was a game show, I think it was, and they had 2 retired contestants, and they both introduced themselves. One of them said, I'm a retired bank manager. And the other chap gave his job role and said, I'm a retired, I can't remember what it was. It could have been a gravedigger, I don't know. But it's almost as if they feel that their value was in that role that they performed then. And they're in this role of grandfather or, father or whatever role they've got now, that this is valueless somehow.
Absolutely.
And that's just such a shame, because our core identity is not changed. We're just putting on a different coat.
Yeah. And just because we get paid for that job does not make us who we are.
Exactly right.
And even in that job, I think we're different even in that job. The bank manager could be your lovely, kind bank manager, or it could be the guy that's good with statistics, or it could be the guy that, runs the coffee club, but you're not. You're just the bank manager. But you could get 10 bank managers and they're all going to be different.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But, this sense of identity that we take from one situation to another, our identities, I mean, you must know yourself, your identity changes so many times in a day. Your identity as a mother, identity as a grandmother, identity as a therapist, identity as a carer. We wear so many nowadays, and all of them have elements of us in them, but they're not us.
No.
Yeah.
We are holistic. We are whole people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the person who walks into my door and says, hopefully not into my door, otherwise he'd get a bang on the head. The client who walks into my door and says, Stephen, I woke up this morning thinking I've really got to get rid of this type 2 diabetes. Can you help me? And alongside that first conversation, I will actively encourage them not to talk about my diabetes, because there's no sense of ownership. It's just a condition. It's a coat, like we talked about before, that they wear for whatever period of time they choose to wear it for. So it's not yours, it's a condition. So just say type 2 diabetes or diabetes. Just don't call it yours.
Yeah.
Because it's not you. Yeah.
And you find that a lot.
Yeah.
You find that a lot, because I worked with special educational needs and disabilities, and you'd find that a lot in that setting. And I would say to the students that I worked with, okay, but what do you do? What do you like doing? What are your skills? Because no two people are the same, no matter what diagnosis you have. Every single, whether it's diabetes or a heart problem or, even a broken arm, no two things are the same. Everybody is going to be different. So you can't label yourself. And I think this is, for me, where the energy alignment method, I started training the energy alignment method 5 years ago. And we worked through every single aspect of our lives, and we released everything that no longer served us. And then it caused us to actually think, well, who do you want to be? And once you'd released all of those labels, all of those things that society had put on you. So for me, it was a mother, you stayed at home, you worked around your children, all of those societal expectations. And there were beliefs that had built up in there. But using the energy alignment method, you can release all of those beliefs, all of those patterns, and then you align to what you actually do want to bring in your life.
Yes, and you've got all this energy that you can then channel in a purposeful way towards what you want. Is that basic? That's basically what you're saying. Is that right?
Absolutely. And you don't have to know. Some people feel they have to know, well, I don't want to be a teacher, so I want to move into this area. But as soon as you've released those old patterns and those beliefs and everything you hold in your energy, all of a sudden the possibilities in the universe are absolutely immense, and things come in that you just weren't expecting.
Yeah, but
you're not only going down that cut through, you're going down the windy path, and you're like, I never would have thought of doing that before, my old patterns.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I've stuck in careers for decades before I've made the change, and it still amazes me now how much those historical patterns, those habits or whatever, tend to want to pull you back. You feel a pull there because you feel like in some ways they defined you. They gave you your income, and if you were to let go, you have to, of course, let go of what was in the past in order to reach forward for what lies ahead of you. And it can be really quite a scary moment, Nicola. You know, if you've been carrying on this role for 20 odd years, everybody knows you as mum, and you know they have a particular way of seeing you, and then suddenly they don't recognize you anymore. You've got this different glimmer in your eye, and you're not spending, I don't know, you're not spending hours doing the laundry, or living for the moment that they do something special or whatever, because suddenly you've found something that really fires you up and gives you that internal energy that you thought only existed voyeuristically by seeing other people thrive. And it's a real poignant and kind of I was going to say heart-stopping, that's not the right way to put it, but real eye-opener for me when you realize that, oh my goodness, I've been serving for years in this role, but that didn't define me. I have all this potential and all these unrealized dreams. And I can make them my new reality. And as a therapist, as somebody who works in the role you do, I can only imagine. Well, I get some sense of this, but I can only really imagine what a huge sense of joy it must give you to have to help in some small way to release that.
Absolutely.
For your clients, to see that sense of that color returning to their face, perhaps, or a smile appearing where there wasn't one previously.
Definitely. I think I went on afterwards. So 2 years ago, I trained to be a clinical hypnotherapist.
Oh, yes.
And the reason I've done that is because people get stuck sometimes in those little stories. And then as a hypnotherapist, you can help them get unstuck from those stories. And sometimes, in the case of phobias, that phobia was created, and as soon as you can put someone into hypnosis, so you're letting your guard down, and you suddenly look, where did that fear of, say for example, spiders, where did that fear of spiders come from? Well, it was because my mum screamed when I was 5 years old, so I thought, oh, my mum's my protector, I must be frightened. And as soon as you realize that in your adult self, you then go, oh. And the realization on my clients, when they realize how easily, once you can recognize it, and once you can find what happens and release that, and it was that simple. But the whole life had been built around, they hadn't been going in certain rooms because there might be a spider there. You hadn't been able to turn a page on a book because they knew there was a picture of a spider there. And they're like, this run my whole life from one tiny event when I was 5 years old. And that is just phenomenal to see people's lives change because you've been able to identify and remove those stuck things.
I know exactly what you mean, because in terms of type 2 diabetes clients, many of them it takes about 15, 20 years to develop type 2 diabetes. And For many people, there are some really quite historical, deep-seated traumas, really, that are sitting at the base of that type 2 diabetes. Yeah. So when I developed my program, I realized that in order to get an enduring impact, in order to keep that, to keep that non-diabetic state, one needed to go a bit deeper. It's not just about losing weight and about changing your diet and your lifestyle. There's a lot of that. But you have to go a little bit deeper into, well, why did you develop this in the first place? What was your mechanism? What did you do?
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of my clients, for example, have trapped emotions that effectively started off in an organ of their body. It could have moved anywhere.
Yeah.
But again, going back to that energy you talked about before, Nicola, it provides a resistance point, so that energy can't move through it.
Yeah.
And it creates it manifests itself as a rut.
Yeah.
In one's life, you know, or you know, it can spiral downwards as well. But it just gets deeper and deeper, and it's like, oh my God, let me out.
Yeah.
And giving that sense of release, facilitating or helping the client, because of course the client does it themselves, don't they?
Absolutely.
So guiding the client through that, to that sense of relief, where, you know, going back to our title, where that really deep rut,
exactly,
can become a new groove, is just it's just so rewarding.
Absolutely. And how simple it is. People will come to me and say, well, I've had this problem for over 30 years, so it's going to take a long time for it to go. And I'll say, well, that's a belief. It doesn't have to. If you believe it, it will. But if we get rid of that belief, no, we can get rid of it now.
Yes. And we're not talking about, I don't know, delving deep into somebody's trauma, somebody's, you know, bad experience. Well, it's very light touch. It's not invasive at all. You know,
often I don't even need to know the problem, and my client, I'll say, well, tell me if you want to, if it makes you feel better, but I don't need that story, because you know what that story is, and I can help you to release it. And once it's gone, neither of us need to know that story. So let's not give it, you know, where your focus goes, your energy grows. So let's not give it any more energy. Let's change our focus. And let's not just keep, and we often repeat those stories time and time again, you know, and we will also repeat stories that our parents have told us over and over again. Without
don't
even
talk
knowing
to strangers.
something.
I remember that was the earliest networking advice I've got. You know, this chap said, oh, well, when you were kids, you were told don't talk to strangers. You think that's great advice for somebody who's going into sales? And
I was always told Nicola talks too much. Well, I'd be stuck without my voice now.
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah, of course you would. I couldn't imagine you without a voice, Nicola.
But in school, that's what you're taught. Every single report, Nicola talks too much. And then at some point, I stopped talking because nobody was listening. My opinion didn't matter anymore. So I just stopped talking, and I just then was very good, very quiet, and just drifted along then. But now I really value my voice. I really value being able to speak out.
Yeah.
And I think,
go on, please.
I was just going to say, I think as well, you know, we live in a country where we can speak, where we do have freedom of speech. So let's use that voice to speak. And let's not, when you start trapping all of those things inside by not speaking and by not releasing them, that's when the problems start occurring, because what happens in your mind happens in your body. Eventually things start, you know, you've got things happening in your mind. Sooner or later your body's going to start sending you signs. If you don't do anything about it, it'll send you a stronger sign. If you don't do anything about that, oh well, you're really not listening. I think you need to rest. Here's an illness that will cause you to rest for 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
that mind-body connection is really important.
It is, and that communication mechanism with type 2 diabetes lasts, as I say, almost 2 decades or more than 2 decades. And there are all these messages, all these calls to action that our bodies are giving us.
Yeah.
We're choosing to ignore them because
Absolutely.
there's something more important going on, or whatever.
Or you can take a pill and that'll sort it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, please, I'd implore anyone who's listening to this, if you're receiving a message like this, there is no better time to listen.
Yeah.
Now, do something about it. And Nicola, I'm really sorry, I've got so carried away with our conversation. I want to put up on screen how people get hold of you. So I'm putting up, this is your Facebook, your personal Facebook page.
This is my business page, New Beginnings Transformational Therapies. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your business page. And by the way, you can press pause and whatever, so you can capture this as you wish. I'll put it in the show notes as well, so that people don't have to, I don't have to pause it when they take a note of it. And also, Nicola, I want to pull up your website as well, so that people know how to get hold of you via that. And just as a lasting message, or a last message, was somebody who needed help and thought that you were the right person to come to, what kind of things might I be worried about, or waking up in the middle of the night thinking about, Nicola?
So people might be worried about coming to me because they're not sure what I'm going to do, how I can change them. They might be thinking there's more to life than this, but things haven't got that bad. My argument would be, well, how bad are they going to get before you take action? Like we were just saying, are you going to end up being seriously ill? At what point? Or if, my question in the beginning, if you only had 10 more years left to life, would you still be doing this? Or do you want to change now and have 10 years of being fulfilled in your life? I can cut that down. I can cut that time so that you're enjoying and living the life that you want right now. You don't have to wait.
That's a really nice message to end on, because it is a positive thing. There is help out there, so that you can listen to these messages and do something about it. So you've got a couple of options there for reaching out to Nicola. And indeed, if you've got type 2 diabetes, for reaching out to me too, let me put up my information as well. So this is my personal Facebook page, which again I'll put in the show notes as usual. And then this is my special T2D, type 2 diabetes reversal group, which is a nice friendly group I've got on Facebook now. So if you find yourself waking up in the morning thinking, I need to do something about this type 2 diabetes and I need to do it now, then first step might be to join T2D reversal, and then discover what options there are, because you can turn this thing around. You can reverse your type 2 diabetes. It's not too late. I did it after 20 years, but I'm not a miracle worker. If you unfortunately have to lose a limb, God forbid, from type 2 diabetes, I cannot grow it back. So make sure you reach out long before you get to that scenario. Right, let me just brighten up the mood and say thank you very much, Nicola, for that. That was I went on another few minutes more than I normally do, so you must be terribly interesting.
I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you very much. And everybody else, thank you for listening. Have a fantastic week. See you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.